Hey, hello, and how are you, everybody? Dom Tibbetts, Matt Bovee, here inside the Buffalo Bills Fieldhouse, where James Cook got his bag.
Yeah, it's a
Matt,
lot of money.
for reported 4 years, $48 million deal, 30 million guaranteed per reports. I mean, after all this, Matt, I think there's a bit of surprise that comes just with any time a big money deal comes with this, especially when it comes to running backs in that position group in the
Yeah.
NFL. But overall, kind of your instant reaction to the news this morning.
I want to see what the contract actually looks like because
Right.
I do think that's important. The first numbers that we always see are usually from the agents, which are going to paint their client in the best picture humanly
Of
possible.
course.
So I do think that there's going to be a couple more layers to it. But on the surface level, I have really no issue with it. It's probably a little bit more than I thought they were ultimately going to agree on. I never thought $15 million made sense. That
Right.
was just kind of lunacy, really. And the Bills, I'm sure, wanted to get closer to a number that they were comfortable with. Kyron Williams, he didn't set the market because it's not like he was getting paid a ton, but I think he kind of gave a good barometer of where the Bills needed to be to get something done with James Cook. Kyron Williams, I think James Cook is a more explosive player than Kyron Williams. I think he's a more dynamic player. But Kyron Williams is on the field a ton. So there's
Yeah.
got to be some sort of value difference there. I think for the Bills moving forward, they're paying James Cook to be a feature running back. But I don't know if he necessarily needs to be utilized as a feature running back. I still feel like this wheelhouse of 50% makes the most sense because you're going to get the most out of him in those, I don't want to say limited snaps, but maybe
Yeah.
with a smaller workload. And you still really like Ty Johnson and Ray Davis and what they can bring to this
Of
offense.
course, like you don't utilize James Cook nearly the amount that Kyron Williams did. And I think that was like that number we talked about, the 87% snap share Kyron Williams gets, and then like the almost 50 that James Cook gets. I think you have to throw that out the window because the Rams' offense is very much different than this everybody eats offense the Bills bring out, right? Like Ty Johnson, Josh Allen said it. He's one of the best, if not the
Yeah.
best, third down back in the league. Ray Davis is a great complementary piece, still very much young in his career. I heard an argument this morning talking about like, oh, when these kind of big deals, these big extensions happen, there's always feels like there's going to be a clear winner. I think when you like your instant
Yeah.
reaction, you scratch a lottery ticket.
Uh-huh.
James Cook maybe appears to be the winner here, but the whole
Oh, I
winner
don't know
is
if
the whole winner.
yeah.
I think is the Buffalo Bills and James Cook. I think both
Yeah.
can be true. I think both
Yeah.
sides can win this because you get a value back that just set a record for rushing touchdowns last year, and you're also getting a guy who is still in the prime of his career, still
Yeah,
working
25.
up, and 50% workload too. Let's just mind you, he also wasn't a starting back in Georgia. He hasn't had that wear and tear mileage on
Yeah.
him for being a running back himself too. So I think overall, it's a win-win for both sides. James Cook is here. The team can prepare this rest of this preseason, go into the regular season, having that continuity. Josh Allen gets a playmaker back on his offense for sure for the next 4 to 5 years, man.
I saw a crazy stat from Joe DiBiase this morning from WGR, and he said if you combine Ashton Genty's college touches and pro touches and James Cook's college touches and pro touches, James Cook only has like 100 more touches or something.
And
the
Ashton
crazy
Genty
thing is
hasn't
Ashton
win.
Genty
That's
hasn't played
crazy.
it down in the NFL yet. So
Crazy.
clearly James Cook is still a player who I think has a lot of good football left in him. And that's the other thing too. He's going to be 26 in September, so this is his 26th season. But with the extension, I feel like he is a player who can still be effective maybe a year or two longer than the perceived wall that running backs
Sure.
tend to hit at 28 because of what you brought up, the college production, even though there wasn't a ton of it there, the limited snaps that he got. And also, if he's only going to be on the field 50-ish% of the time,
Right.
it feels like that should keep him fresh for more years down the road. So when you were talking about the point, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No,
when you
you're
were
good.
talking about the point about how there needs to be a clear winner, I feel like good teams give out contracts that are a win for the player and also a win for themselves.
Right.
And that's what I think this is. I feel like it's maybe a little bit higher than the Bills wanted to pay and a little bit less than James Cook ultimately wanted to accept, which means it's a pretty fair deal.
You know, I also mean James Cook, 30 million guaranteed per the reports once we confirm those numbers. But I was also doing this is off of, you bring up DiBiase, he brought this up, so I had to look it up too today. Saquon Barkley, highest guaranteed value at like 36 million. Then at 35.9 is Ashton Genty, who hasn't ran a ball, and then there's James Cook at 30 million too. So James certainly got like the reward for like, hey, I want to be rewarded for the season I put in last year and for what I'm going to be in this offense. I think a big number like that's going to flash. That also kind of gives you the value for what James wants there too. But again, I just go back to what you saw James Cook do, and talking to him after practice today, he does very clearly seem like a guy who is not complacent, is going to keep putting his best foot forward here. The offense has just kind of scratched the surface now with another year under Joe Brady, another year of the everybody eats mantra and all that the complementary backfield kind of brings within itself.
Yeah.
it's a good situation. I for one am happy that the next time we'll talk about James Cook,
Yeah.
it's going to be for something that he does on the field, like in a performance base,
Yeah.
not having to do this hold in. Is he holding out? This
Uh-huh.
whole ordeal. I'm sure. Do you know how else probably agrees with that too, Matt? Brandon Bean and his staff for
Yeah,
sure.
right. I don't ever think it got to a point where it was a crazy distraction, but it was also something we were talking about a lot, and now it feels like we can kind of push it to the back
Nuisance. I
burner.
would call it a nuisance.
Yeah, a little bit of a nuisance, an inconvenience will have you. So James Cook is now the latest player to get a 4-year extension from the Bills. The team has given out 5 of those extensions in the last several months. So I think Terrell Bernard was first. Then it was Khalil Shakir, I think. I could have this mixed up. But the 5 players that got it were Terrell Bernard, Khalil Shakir, Greg Rousseau,
Benford.
Christian Benford, James Cook.
Yeah.
And I think it was in that order, which is why it took me a second to get there. So those are the players that they have given extensions to. I think that this is the new wave core of this team, and they're all 4-year extensions, which means in my head, the Bills think Josh Allen has 4 more years of being an elite MVP caliber quarterback, and this is the window they need to attack.
I also wonder too if that's the case, which I do agree with. I also think, like you talk about that elite level of play with Josh Allen, it's a little unpredictable. You just don't know exactly. That could be a little bit longer too. But the word core in Buffalo sports, I think I don't want to mix up two sport organizations on this talk. We talk so much about the Buffalo Sabres core. I don't know if the word core is going to be something that Buffalo sports fans want to hear, because they might have like a little bit of a, oh no, what is this? What's happening in the Bills? Are they trying to do the same thing? No.
Oh, goodness gracious, no.
Completely different, right? But I do think that if you put enough good talent around Josh Allen on offense, which James Cook, Khalil Shakir have proven themselves to be.
Yeah,
And again,
the offensive line.
And again, value. They aren't first-round guys. Khalil Shakir was a 5th-round draft pick.
Shakir was 5th. Benford was a 6th. Cook was a 2nd.
Yeah. So, and Greg Rousseau, out of that whole group, was the only first-round draft pick. So they've identified the core talent to bring around Josh Allen. When you are going at a guy at that level for his prime, that's what you want to do. You want to stack talent around there too. And Josh Allen's also like, because in the wide receiver, it's like, well, Dom, why are they not bringing a wide receiver? And don't you think they need one? I think you're okay. I think Josh Allen's going to provide you enough wiggle room with the guys they got in that room. You're going to be just fine. So I think the Bills made a good move here. I think James Cook made a good move here. Overall, I think everybody can go to bed with their head rested nicely on their pillows tonight.
Draft, develop, resign. That has always been the mantra that this front office has preached. They are practicing what they preach with a move like the one they made today. That is Dom Tibbetts. I am Matt Beauvais. Thanks so much for watching. The Bills off on Thursday, depending on when you're watching this, off on Thursday because they're traveling to Chicago for a joint practice with the Bears on Friday. They play their next preseason game on Sunday night against the Chicago Bears.